2025 has seen some huge changes for Soulframe. New packs, new weapons, new factions, new combat mechanics, new cosmetics. There is so much here, it's easy to forget the game is still in its pre-alpha phase. As we head into winter holidays, let's take a look at how far the game has come in the past year and highlight 6 reasons you should try Soulframe in 2026. Big thanks to Digital Extremes for sponsoring this video. Click on the link below to sign up for a chance to play Soulframe for free or become a Soulframe founder and play right now. You can also get access to Soulframe through promotions and Twitch drops, so check out soulframe.com for the latest info on how to get in-game. Digital Extremes are the makers of Warframe, and Soulframe is their new upcoming free-to-play game, currently in a pre-alpha release called Soulframe Preludes. It does have controller support, and they are hoping to get it on console eventually, but for now it's playable on PC and Steam Deck. So what is Soulframe, and why should you give it a try? DE calls Soulframe a co-op adventure RPG, and while that is technically true, I feel like Soulframe is a lot more than that label implies. Is it an RPG? Sure, in that it's a game, and you're playing the role of an envoy. The envoy is a human with some amount of Fey ancestry who lost their memories due to the invasion of the Ode. This alien race has occupied the planet Alka to steal its resources, and they use the spell song to make all its inhabitants forget their history, believing the Ode had always been there so they would not resist. The spell song twisted Alka's magic against itself, so you, the envoy who just washed up on the shores of an island called Midrath, must now heal that damage and restore the world, its inhabitants, and its histories. So yes, there is an RPG element involved, but the game won't lock you into a single role or class. When you start the game, you'll get to choose from one of 3 packs, which are how your envoy gets their special abilities. These 3 starting packs embody the game's 3 virtues: courage, spirit, and grace. And they definitely do fit the fighter, mage, and rogue RPG archetypes, but you won't be stuck with your first choice forever. As you play the game, you'll unlock more packs with different themes and abilities, including the other starting packs, and you can switch between them whenever you choose. This brings me to the first reason you should try Soulframe. You can play it however you like. Want to run around with a greatsword and smash enemies with bear magic? This game has that. Want to be a sneaky rogue and stab enemies with short blades? We have that too. You can use any pact with any weapon and any sidearm and whatever armor you like, and you can create a build that will effectively complete the game's content with that equipment. And this variety has already increased significantly just in the time I've been playing Soulframe. When I started, we had 4 packs to choose from and 5 weapon types, and already this was enough to get me excited about all the potential combinations. Although admittedly, I was a fan of the archery right from the beginning, and especially after the bow rework in Preludes 9. Trust me, I could ramble for hours about all the ways in which Soulframe archery is so fun and satisfying. But then in Preludes 10, combat got even better when they added sidearms, so I could swap to a dagger in close encounters for quick parries and ripostes. And now in Preludes 12, I can wield a bow as my main weapon and magic gauntlets as my sidearm, and use Oshelda as my pact, and finally have the combat healer bow build of my dreams. What I'm saying is, the combat is great, and the build variety gets better with every patch. Soulframe incentivizes you to try everything, since your envoy has a rank that increases as you level up new weapons and packs. You gain more virtue points as you rank up, and spending those points on your courage, spirit, and grace will give you more life, improve your pact arcanics, and boost your weapon damage. Once you've maxed out a pact or weapon, you don't have to hang on to it if you don't want to. You can play what you like and how you like, and with whomever you like, including yourself. Which brings me to the next reason you should try Soulframe. It's good solo, and it's good in a group. Sometimes I really just want to tune out the world and enjoy some gaming time on my own, and Soulframe is perfect for that. All of Soulframe's content can be completed solo, although the level of difficulty varies tremendously based on what you're doing and what your gear is like. Game difficulty increased significantly in Preludes 11 with updates to enemy pacing and combat strategy, and then again in Preludes 12 with the addition of the Koga, a sort of hard mode accessed through drinking a craftable potion. I do think we'll continue to see even tougher encounters as the game develops, and some adjustments to our envoy's abilities to make sure we aren't too strong, but I hope we stay somewhere in this cozy place of having gameplay that feels fun and accessible to many different types of gamers. On the other hand, sometimes I do like social gaming, and Soulframe lets me team up with other envoys to form a 3-person squad for any of the game's content. Soulframe gameplay is instanced, so you're not going to meet new people out in the open world, but you can meet people in one of the game's enclaves or social hubs. When I started playing in Preludes 8, we only had one of these areas, the Drippin' Flagon. In Preludes 9, this saucy tavern became the headquarters of the Silent Rose, one of Soulframe's 3 NPC factions. Each of these factions are inhabitants of Midrath who have their own reasons for fighting the Odin invasion. The Silent Rose are a group of people who resisted the spellsong and now want to thwart the Ode with subterfuge. Alka's children are a group of Sproutfolk, little plant people, who want to protect Alka. And Kith of Kings is run by the spirit of Fen Jotar, an ancient king who is eager to repel invaders.
May the invaders burn!
Faction Tales are mini-quests that take you across Midrath to complete objectives and earn standing with your faction, and these are the best way to enjoy co-op play in Soulframe. While you can switch factions, there is a 1-week cooldown for doing so, but that won't hinder your ability to team up with other envoys. If you and your squad mates are in different factions, you can still do Faction Tales together and you will each gain standing for whichever faction you're in. Fables, on the other hand, can still be a bit buggy in co-op, but this is already much better than it was when I started in Preludes 8. Fables are Soulframe's story quests, and they consist of both a linear main story, where one fable leads into the next, and some standalone fables that you can choose to complete whenever you like. In Preludes 12, most of the co-op bugs for Fables have been ironed out already, and what few remain as I record have the devs' attention for incoming fixes, but even with some expected pre-alpha bugs, Fables are still the next reason you should try Soulframe. It has a great story. I knew in my first hour of playing Soulframe that this game would be my new home. I saved some baby deer from a cage, redeemed a night maiden, and healed a magical stag. I don't want to spoil too much here, but there is an emotional weight to the storytelling in this game that is absolutely superb. We don't have a ton of story content yet because the game is still so early in development, but what we do have is so rich in detail and ambiance and significance. I want to know who this is and yet also fear who it might be, and evoking that kind of emotional response in a player is an incredible feat for a game that isn't even fully released yet. And it's not just the plot of the story that makes it so good. The richness of the world is what makes that story feel alive, and that is the next reason you should try Soulframe. This game is gorgeous. I'm not just talking about pretty graphics here, although Soulframe definitely has those. What I mean is that every aspect of this world fits together. It creates a cohesive whole with complex parts that tell a story just as well as the quest dialogue and the codex entries. DE does not call Soulframe an open world game, but my experience of it as a player definitely fits the open world feel. The overworld of Midrath feels large enough that the player base is eagerly awaiting the addition of mounts, which are coming soon. In the meanwhile, we have some limited fast travel to help us get from one end of the map to the other, a much celebrated addition in Preludes 12. The landscape of Midrath varies from picturesque coastlines to forests full of wildflowers to villages and farms to startlingly beautiful bogs to massive keeps and castles, and this is just the pre-alpha island. There are docks at various points on the map that open up the possibility for more islands and different biomes in the future, but DE isn't done with Midrath yet. Every prelude adds more presence to this world, more camps of enemies to fight, more forts to siege, and more points of interest to explore. In Preludes 11 we got world bosses, now called the Agari, who have unique fight mechanics and loot tables. In Preludes 12 our island grew just a bit, with a new swamp appearing in the northeast corner. Surely there is some reason for this addition, perhaps related to a certain toad we've seen in dev streams, but we'll have to wait for another update to find out. And even with this vast and still growing world on the surface of Midrath, there is still more to discover. Soulframe also has 3 types of procedurally generated dungeons: the Undercity of Durmak, the Glades of Andrin, and Nethans. Entrances to these instances can be found all over Midrath, and inside you can find more of the Agari. My favorite of these tile sets is Nethans, the most recent edition, because it is just stunningly beautiful. I'm so happy they put Agari in here because it gives me a great reason to enter these verdant caverns. Clearly DE has put a ton of work into this game, and it is already shockingly good for a pre-alpha. Surely we can drop the pre by now, right DE? But then you might be wondering, how much will it cost to play? And the answer to that is the next reason you should try Soulframe. It's free. And I don't just mean it's free if you can get access to the pre-alpha. Soulframe will be a free-to-play game when it launches, just like Warframe, and so far it's utilizing the same monetization system as Warframe, which makes me extremely happy. I started playing Warframe in 2017, and my first impression of the monetization system wasn't great. I didn't like having to either wait for items to finish crafting or pay premium currency to rush it, and that might have turned me off from the game if I didn't have a friend playing with me telling me to wait, because eventually I wouldn't mind at all. And they were right. Now I actually really like this system, and I'm glad it's in Soulframe. It forces me to pace myself when I otherwise wouldn't, yet gives me the option to rush an item if my time is limited and I feel it's worth the cost. That said, I have not yet had to rush an item in Soulframe. When one item is crafting, there's plenty else to do while I wait. Instead, I use my arcs, which are Soulframe's premium currency, on weapon and pact capacity. Like Warframe, Soulframe limits the amount of equipment you can hold. If you don't want to pay for more capacity, you can sell items you've leveled up and only keep the things you really enjoy playing. If you're a collector like me, then you can spend your arcs to increase your capacity as you need it and keep everything. I'll probably also want to spend arcs on Moonsteel Thread. This is a special currency used for armor transmog, allowing you to convert any armor piece you own into a skin that you can apply to any other armor piece. Eventually, we will also have a weapon transmog, and just as Fashion Frame is the true endgame of Warframe, Soul Style is the true endgame of Soulframe. There is one other aspect of Warframe's monetization that I absolutely love and hope eventually makes its way into Soulframe. Warframe's premium currency is tradable between players. This means everything in the game is accessible to a free player through trading, and spending money on the game is a choice, not a necessity. We don't have player-to-player trading in Soulframe yet, but we know that it is coming, and I hope the ability to trade with arcs comes with it. I'm sure there's a lot DE still needs to figure out in terms of which items will or won't be tradable, but I sincerely hope they do let us buy and sell with premium currency, because that is a huge part of what makes Warframe's monetization feel so fair. I think it's pretty likely that they will, but they haven't confirmed it yet. So, Soulframe is free to play, but access to Preludes is still limited. You can sign up on the Soulframe website and wait for an invitation. They send out codes every week to a random selection of people who have signed up, but you should also link your Twitch account to your Soulframe account. You can usually get an access code as a Twitch drop from watching a Soulframe dev stream, and hopefully they'll do more directory-wide Twitch campaigns in the future. You can also get access through becoming a founder. Purchasing a Founders package gives you several special items in return for supporting the development of Soulframe, and it gives you access to the game plus extra access codes for your friends. I'll put a link below to a video about Soulframe Founders if you want more information on what's in each of the packs. But why would you play now when the game is still in pre-alpha? Wouldn't you want to wait for release? Well, here's my final reason you should give Soulframe a try now. You will keep your progress when Soulframe launches. There is already so much to do in Soulframe Preludes. Including the new items from the Founders packs, we've got 29 weapons, 10 sidearms, and 11 packs to level up, 13 runes and 96 totems to collect for boosting your weapons, and 14 farmable armor sets for optimizing your fashion. And I guess also survival, because the Koga is ready to test your skill, and building up your infamy with sieges will soon bring a new type of encounter with the Ode, which will inevitably have its own unique rewards. That's a lot to grind, and every update brings more. Personally, I cannot wait to see what the next round of runes and totems are like. I'm really loving the extra dimension of versatility these weapon upgrades have brought to Soulframe gameplay, but if you told me I had to go farm all of them all over again, I'd probably cry. So good thing I won't have to. Individual systems might get wiped as they are changed out for something better. For example, we know combat arts are getting reworked, but the points we've accumulated will somehow get translated into the new system when we get it. The bottom line is you can play now and get a head start that will carry into Soulframe's launch. This world is rich and vibrant, the combat feels fun to play, the story evokes emotional response, and while it's not completely perfect, it is always getting better. I love this game. I've been pretty clear about that in all my past videos, but I've also spoken out about the things I don't like. I've given feedback along with so many other alpha testers, and Digital Extremes has listened and iterated and improved. I might jokingly complain about hotfixes appearing mere hours after I post a video, but in all seriousness, it makes me so happy to be a fan of a game that gets such good attention from its development team. In fact, I'm adding another reason you should try Soulframe. Digital Extremes is awesome. And yes, DE sponsored this video, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to say this anyway because they told me I could be completely honest in my review of Soulframe, and this is honest. Digital Extremes has earned the excellent reputation they have with their player base. I am proud to be a Tenno, and I am proud to be an Envoy. So join us, won't you?
Join us, won't you?
You can become a Soulframe founder or sign up for a chance to join Soulframe Preludes by using my link below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful winter holiday however you celebrate. And until next time, happy hunting!